Hey. Welcome to another episode of This Shit's Hard podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Biscuiti.
And I'm Jen, aka Rumblebum. Thank you for joining us.
And welcome to This Shit's Hard podcast with Chelsea and Matt Williams, Mrs. and Mr. FroPro.
That's right.
Do you like how I did the woman first?
I noticed it immediately.
I mean, that's been my life story, so it's totally fine and appreciated.
Thank you for having us.
Totally good.
Thank you so much for making the time to be here.
Absolutely.
I would love for you to tell the folks out there what FroPro is and what it means.
Should I
Take it
start?
away. Yeah. And then I'll chime in like I do. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So FroPro stands for frozen protein. It's not very super creative, but it was a name that from sharing the bar and making the bar, sitting down, it's like, what do you want to call it? And I was like, oh, it's like frozen protein, FroPro. And the person that helped me with that and was sitting down and tapping away on the computer was like, yeah, cool. Go FroPro, because that's the one that we get. I was like, cool, buy every domain, whatever that means. And FroPro was the name, and that was it.
What a literal explanation of what FroPro is. I would say that it's a delicious peanut butter snack bar that Matt created with no intention of having a business by any means. He just made it for himself. We were dating at the time. Fast forward, one person, he named it. Fast forward, people liked it, people sold it. Here we are. It's a fully functioning business with employees and chefs and a community and following and
all
retail
of that.
and wholesale. Yeah. So
yes.
A million things in between.
So cool.
Yeah.
But
I went literal because some people still don't know, and they're like, what's FroPro mean? And I'm like, frozen protein. They're like, oh.
Which I do want to say it does not need to be frozen.
Right.
It's just the cool name that we have for it.
Also wanted to say that it doesn't have to be peanut because I've also had your almond blend.
Sore subject.
Sore subject.
It's not on the shelves anymore.
Why?
Because
we took it off.
we invested in a machine and we just right now at our scale can't risk cross-contamination of the peanut butter and almond butter. So even though we love our almond butter right now,
not to say that almond won't ever be back. Maybe a fun drop.
A little rendezvous.
Yeah,
we'll bring her back.
We'll bring her back.
It took us a couple years to bring the key lime back, and you never know. Just putting it out there.
I love that. Key lime, as a side note, happens to be my favorite dessert.
Oof, yeah.
However, my go-to FroPro bar, we're going to talk about that. My go-to FroPro bar is birthday cake.
Yeah. I just ate
along with
I saw that.
Any others?
Yes.
I saw that while I was salivating,
yes.
and I satisfied my, I guess, hunger/thirst with whatever's in here.
Get some water or something else.
It's water. Yeah. So the funny thing is, I trust Matt implicitly, and also now Chelsea, with the development of this process that has been the 2.5-year process of getting this podcast to come to life. But Matt also trusted me with one of his first episodes of his podcast, Wake Up the Sun, which we just went back on the timeline and discovered it was 2019.
Yeah.
Which basically feels like a decade ago.
Yeah. Totally different time.
I know.
Yeah.
And we've seen each other and have been in the community of fitness, if you will, in CrossFit for a minute. And I also enjoyed that we both were speaking at Bloomingdale's that one day many years ago.
I feel like that was the connector.
That was when we first connected.
We definitely knew about each other, but I think
after the fact though, because I feel like I did come to a Delray box when you were competing or you were about to do something, and
that was prior. And
about to do something.
I knew.
You knew who Nicole was, but we connected at Bloomingdale's.
I remember I think I was dropping off something or something. They're like, oh, Nicole's like, oh, cool, I'll come by and watch. And I remember that was I think the first time I ever was like, hey, I'm Matt, and nice to meet you. We have a lot of mutual friends, and you had just knocked a workout out. You're super happy.
Oh, that's so dope.
Yeah, we then later connected at Bloomingdale's.
Back in my CrossFit days, which do not exist anymore. Now it's the Olympic weightlifting days.
Yeah.
But we love that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember that very well.
Oh, cool. Yep. That's so fun. Yeah, I love all those memories, and I love I love coming by and never knowing what it is that you're going to be into at FroPro HQ.
Yeah.
The last time I came by, this guy's neck deep in an ice barrel.
Yep. Big shout out to Ice Barrel. We love
Big
that.
shout
Love
out
that.
to Ice Barrel. We love that. So with that, I'd love it if you guys could take us through. An ideal day probably doesn't exist for you, but what does
No, we're
your
pretty
day
good at
or week look
routine.
like? Are you?
Consistency and routine is what we're about. So I think
That no, I guess we'll start off because you can't interrupt this because
nope, it's all you.
I open up the day. Yeah, no, my day usually starts around it depends. It's between 4 and 5 o'clock. Usually 4:30 wake up and I have my morning routine that consists of usually prayer, meditation, journaling, some sort of reading at some point, and that can go from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. And just kind of I kind of center my thoughts and try to slow my brain down because sometimes I wake up and it's very things are moving fast, and other days I wake up and there's not much there, and I kind of have a chance to quiet the noise if there's a lot of noise, or kind of get myself motivated in the fact of here's what I'm focusing on, of being of service, of being in community and connecting with people that I want to connect with. And if I'm a good husband, I'm usually putting away the dishes that were washed the night before. Coffee is getting made, and then it's usually I'll run up and
He just listed his 2 chores.
Oh, I love that. So
have
does that mean
to.
that you cook, Chelsea?
Well, I wouldn't go that far and just shot myself in the foot
No,
there.
not at all.
But I
You've been
I
cooking.
appreciate you making the coffee and putting the dishes away.
It's part of my contribution because everything else that I try to do.
I'm a little bit of a control freak, so
Right.
there's
Some
not
would
much
say I
that
don't
There's
do
an
it.
order
Yes.
to it.
Right.
A
Some would
process.
say I don't do it right or the way that they want it done. So it's really hard to mess up coffee. And
We'll talk about putting the Tupperware away later.
Yes, I would love to circle
but
back to that.
We could,
that.
we'll
Love
do that
that.
later.
Okay.
But no. So I usually start my day like that, and then I'll go up and kiss you goodbye, and then I'm out the door. So I get to the at FroPro we're very fortunate that we have a gym side of things, as well as a production facility.
Yeah, let's explain that for a sec.
I love
here.
the gym side of
Yeah,
things.
so
It's so fun.
we're
Yes.
so
Gonna chime
there's
in.
been an evolution of it. We started
Yes.
FroPro sharing, and Matt shared kitchen space, rented kitchen space, made a bar, and FroPro got to a place where that just was not acceptable anymore. We had this
Right.
high level business we were selling to Whole Foods, and we just couldn't share space anymore. So we had the opportunity. We found this gym that was no longer in business, and I couldn't see it. I was like, this is just a dirty gym that hasn't been used. How could there be a kitchen in here? And we have really great people in our life. We have a friend who's a contractor, and he said, I'll build you a kitchen. So he built a kitchen.
Right, but that's the thing too. It's a lot of people we weren't really sharing with, and so no one really knew where we were doing it. So when I took him, and we got to shout him out. Chris Jangard Home Improvements has been just an absolute godsend for us and helping us do the things that I am I'm not talented at, and he's got a great work ethic and great team.
Yeah, this was a place in our life
Right.
where we were scared. People,
Right.
the company was great, but we were just so scared of losing it. People stealing from us. Things had happened that
which
made
had
us.
which had happened. So it wasn't-
Stealing ideas,
Yeah.
recipes.
It wasn't an unrealistic fear. It was
Right.
Experiences had led
essentially
us there.
a situation that Chelsea wasn't a part of in the first time, where someone kind of I'm gonna say it, fucked me over. And,
Yeah.
told me one thing and did another. And then the second time Chelsea was a part of, and it was gut wrenching because it
And
hurt
it's so
me.
small looking back,
Right.
but it was an opportunity. Everyone thinks they can make a FroPro. Everyone wants to make a ball and all this stuff. And
Everyone thinks they can make a sports bra
of course
too.
they can. So
100%.
at the time, it's so scary. And then
course.
you put in all the work and you realize that, sure, take ingredients, put it together, but you're not us. And we've put in the work.
Love that.
So
Yes.
And what was cool about that is it was the first time we actually brought somebody in that I had trusted and knew was a good guy, and he's like, man, he goes, this is where you're making the bar? He's like, oh man. And then I took him to the space that we were looking at, and he goes,
we'll make
Oh.
something better.
he goes, I got you. He goes, I know exactly what to do, and we'll do this. I said, cool. You don't need to tell me. Just come up with the price, come up with how you're going to do it, how long it's going to take. And it was crazy. Again, I share a lot about the fact that I tried to find someone to tell me not to do it because I'd never done anything like
And
this.
then
And it was
and
very
Matt's,
scary.
Matt's a personal trainer too, which we haven't
Right.
spoken about. Matt
Mhm.
had clients, way more clients at the time, because that was helping us supplement our life.
Sure.
He was working, and and we were like one roof,
You need income.
one roof.
Yeah. Still do.
Sure do. Oh, that thing about money? Yeah, we still
What's
need
this
it.
podcast called?
This shit's hard.
Yeah.
So we had both businesses under one roof, and since then it's grown. We have offices now, and the gym, and the kitchen, and it really is an experience that we're so lucky. I feel like companies grow and then they add a gym on later because it's really cool. We got to start the opposite.
Yeah.
So it's really special to us, and day to day I kind of lose sight of that, but for sure overall it's really cool what we have.
But
It is very cool.
yeah, it's very special, and then sometimes it's if I forget, right? I forget how cool it can be, and kind of going back to the harder time, like. Again, shit is hard, no doubt about it. But like I can go back and I have people in my life. They're like, dude, you could be here or you could not even be here on the planet, and you made a lot of poor decisions and you did a lot of things that led you to disaster, and now you're doing things differently. But it's crazy. What I love about going there is I love to open up. Like I love to turn on the lights. You're the only one there. Yeah, I'm the
Like
only
that's
one
your
there.
favorite part of the ritual in the morning.
It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I love that.
Is sometimes I'm just like, fuck, I don't want to do this. But now that the Clintmore Bridge is open, which I'm still really excited about, it takes me only 5 minutes from
we live 5 minutes from work too. So the quality of the quality of life there is huge too. We're definitely.
Right. But I think it's like. I walk in the back of FroPro, kind of turn the lights, just kind of check things, make sure everything's good. And then I walk around, I open the gym, turn on the music, turn on the air. And it's just one of those great feelings of like, man, this is really fucking cool. And then the day starts, and, a client comes in, and then, a couple hours, an hour or two go by, and Chelsea comes in, and people that work at FroPro come in, and we're all just kind of doing our thing. And now everybody has kind of what they do.
Everyone has their own routine.
I get to kind of walk in between clients and like bullshit with somebody, or, just like laugh about stuff. And it's like a really good feeling. And I go see the boss lady in her office. And we kind of, from there, we actually kind of know what kind of day we're
about things.
I was just saying, we kind of know what kind of day we're going to have, whether it's going to be a good day or a bad day. Usually.
And what time of day is this by this point?
I mean, FroPro starts rocking and rolling at 8:39.
Okay.
But he's been there since 5:30.
Right.
And that changes some days, but for the most part, we're all early.
Right. Also me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we talked about that on your podcast.
Yeah.
At the time, I wasn't getting up that early, but that conversation started the process of me changing my routine.
I love that.
Right.
And I really am very grateful for that conversation.
Oh,
Thank you.
That's so great. I'm happy to hear that.
I actually don't tell you enough and don't thank people enough. I need to be more conscious of it. But I made walking to the beach part of my morning routine.
Awesome.
And watching the sunrise.
Ooh.
Yes. And I did that shortly after being on Wake Up the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And for a little bit, I would periodically make a post and I'd be like, I'm waking up the sun, Matt.
We love that. We love that.
Yeah, but it really does. It does make a difference. And for fear of feeling like a grandma, early bird gets the worm.
No,
but really, that is the case.
Yeah. No, I think again, I know people that are night owls, and
Sure.
they get their best work done that. And again, whatever.
We get our best work done before 11 a.m. We really,
Yes.
that's just how we
100%.
function, but
Totally.
that doesn't mean someone else can, but that's been the success of our day to day.
Yes. And Rumblebum, who both of you know,
Yes.
who is our co-host here, is taking a little napski, actually, really.
Yeah.
She
100%.
hope she
We
feels
miss her.
better. We
Yeah.
miss her.
Yeah.
She and I are really great travel partners in addition to being co-hosts because we have the same sleep schedule.
Yeah. Very important.
It's very difficult.
I've definitely morphed into Matt's. By no means did it start off this way, but
right.
We've definitely, you've become compatible.
Yeah. No, I think again, it started out, and again, there are days where we stay up later, and there's significant events and things like that. But
Sure.
Or a TV show to binge,
And I think
Or a black tie event to go
Yeah.
look like two smoke shows.
Thank you.
going.
Yeah.
Yes, you guys really
That was
clean
fun.
up nice.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
that was a good time.
We
That-
keep it so chill all the time, so
Yeah.
that when we have to get really done up, we come out
Make
with
an
a bang.
impact.
So yeah, I'm
People are going to notice you.
there's effort behind that for sure.
Good. I like that. And I like the consciousness of it too.
Thank you.
And so in keeping with the theme that this shit is hard, if you don't mind, Matt, talking a little bit about your background with
Sure.
substance abuse and how you got there. We'd love to hear that, because this is what the platform is for.
Yeah, no, I think it's, again, I appreciate being on there and asking that question. And it's something that I was fortunate to do a couple talks recently, but I was very ashamed. I was very embarrassed initially when that was going on, because, I felt like I was supposed to be someone. I was supposed to be something. I was a teacher. I was a coach. I got my master's and did all this cool shit. But I lived a double life, right? Like I had the life where I was bartending in New York City, and I was, doing private parties and just like acting foolish, right? In different ways, and doing too much, and drinking and drugging, and making like poor decisions, and driving, and again, nothing that I'm proud of, but things that really kind of got to the point where I found it difficult to keep going, and I found it difficult to keep that lifestyle where it was, right? So eventually, when there was enough pain and there was enough anguish, it was just like, okay, cool, I need some help, right?
Right.
So eventually I reached out, and it was one of those things where, I had to make a decision. And it was not like something that I came to myself, but it was people in my life, right? Asking for help and being like, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I'm 28 years old.
Right.
I can't stop drinking and drugging. I've ruined my life. I'm looking at 1 to 3 years in jail, and like the laundry list of bullshit that I had done to myself.
Yeah.
Right. And it was a very dark place. And I speak freely with this, and I don't mean to offend, but it was like, it was a point where I just didn't want to be on the planet anymore. I didn't want to be alive. And like, then I'm like, I'm too much of a coward to kill myself. And it was just like, okay, what do I do? And it's like, face it, right? And I had a lot of people, my wife, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, who you
chose well,
right? Who I literally, and I share this all the time. We've done this before. It's like I said, run the other way, please. Like, you don't want to get involved with this. This is not something.
Yeah, this is 2010. Just to give some reference, we're dating 5 weeks, I think. We had our first date on April 25th. Really had a lot of fun, hung out all the time, and then on May 16th he got arrested. So we're talking about just a few weeks there.
You really threw her into it.
Yeah, I mean, I was young. He told me he was moving, going to New York. I'm like, okay, and he never left. Let's just say that.
Also a good choice.
But yeah, I picked
not
him
much
up
of a
from
choice
jail,
at that time.
Right. Right. You're like, kind of a forced
Great choice in hindsight.
I mean, we joked. My mom was like, he's got tattoos, he's not Jewish, and we're picking him up from jail.
Winner.
But,
wow.
Winning.
But I proudly say that, knowing how incredible Matt is today. Not that he wasn't then. I definitely knew he was, that's why I'm still here.
She knew. And what I love about that is that you saw who he actually was. That's so cool.
I did. He definitely was in his own way, and I didn't, I just was there. I didn't have, I felt like I didn't have another choice in the matter. Just gonna stick by him and
I love
and
that.
See what's gonna happen. But it was a very short amount of time, and and FroPro wasn't.
It wasn't a thing.
It wasn't a thing. We were rebuilding. I was, I was young, 22, and I had to, I didn't have the privilege of just doing whatever I wanted. I had to work and figure out my life. So we were dating and working really hard, and he's rebuilding, and enter FroPro. Like that's when he's just making it as a snack, and that's where we were like hungry for like a bigger life, but like we didn't think FroPro was going to provide it.
Ooh, I love that you said for a bigger life, because that's actually one of my manifestations and mantras.
Yeah. I mean, it means so many different things to so many different people.
Well,
but
that's
I think
beautiful.
we were we mutually agreed on wanting to work hard for something else. We knew what we were doing wasn't just the end goal. I mean, today is still not the end goal. I feel like it's odd saying that out loud, because I 12 years later feel that way today. I feel like there's something bigger we're working towards, and that's what we felt then.
And we're just getting started.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like
over and over again.
Point, right. It's like you feel there are certain points where you find some success, or you find like some things that really drive you, and then you kind of like, I don't want to say plateau, but you're like not rocketing as like a trajectory that you want, and then it's just kind of leveled out, and you're like, eventually you get to a point, right, where you've experienced this too. You kind of like, I can't do any fucking thing more than I'm doing right now, and it's up to other people to allow this to happen.
Yes.
And that's
you need team members, and you need to ask
really
for help.
Hard.
Yes, asking for help is so hard.
Right.
Or just people believing in you,
Right.
We
you
have
so
talked
hard,
so much about
like
that,
there's so much of that too, where we've here we are, we've built this, we're going to work really, really, really hard. And who's out there that, that sees our like light shining, like that we need that support, and that's what we're working towards.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, that's like one of the hardest things to be at that point where it's just like, I feel like I've done everything. And again, how many times where you just like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Or, it's like you go through that roller coaster. And again, like I like to read and I like to watch like motivational stuff, and we send stuff back to each other. And like one thing I saw was like usually somebody that's doing their own thing, that's working really hard, and they come up against a challenge, most people turn back and they retreat. And to be successful, you have to walk through that, right? And like the more you keep doing that, the more you keep powering through, there's not much shit that can get thrown in your way, or like, the universe isn't going to give you too much that you can't handle, where you're like, this really isn't that bad. Sure, it sucks. Sure, it's hard. Sure, it's uncomfortable, but it's like, what am I doing in that moment of discomfort? Am I reaching out to Chelsea? Am I reaching out to other entrepreneurs? Am I going on podcasts? Am I talking about it? Am I doing something for other people? Am I being of service? And that's like one of the cool things that I think that this business has done for us in general, is just the exposure and the connection to so many different people, right?
You have created a tremendous community, and these are people who they truly want to see you win.
Right.
And they believe that when they work with you and align with you and whatever it is that they're trying to do, that everyone can win as well. That's
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, no, I mean, I believe that specifically in that,
Yes.
And what's crazy is that someone said that to me, like, again, going back to the sobriety thing, like I remember, working with someone that was very busy, very time consumed, had a lot going on. And I just remember being like, looking at a group of men and just be like, oh, why don't we have that? And he goes, if you want it, go fucking build it.
Damn.
And I was like, oh, but like, again, he wasn't being mean, and he wasn't being like, he wasn't like shutting me down. He's like, you got to go for it, and you got to go do it. And I didn't like intentionally, like we said, like we didn't create FroPro to be a business. We didn't create it for anything else other than like, I really enjoyed it. I love peanut butter. We're sharing snacks. And like, I literally shared it with as many people as possible.
And now it's not, and now it is a business. We say we didn't make it for business, but now we're at that crossroads where it is, and we got to do stuff to keep going.
Sure.
And that's the scary part. I look back at our story and Matt's story, and how you were just explaining how things were kind of easy, things were easy in different ways. So his sobriety wasn't. Life was not easy. And FroPro was. People loved it. People bought it.
Sure.
And now it's the opposite. He has a foundation that he works day in and day out to maintain his sobriety, for sure. But now the business really needs that kind of attention.
Girl, we are so aligned in so many ways.
And that's just where we're at. No, totally. You and I had just spoken recently.
We really did just speak about this.
Like maybe a week or two ago in my office, and how it's just hard, but
it is such a grind.
If it was easy, everyone would do it.
It's not cheesy too. And it's just like, you get to this point where you're like, do I want to do something else? And the answer is no. Well, hopefully it's no.
Yeah. No.
Right? Like, you don't want to do anything else.
I do not.
You love it. And regardless of how hard it is, and the sleepless nights, and even the successes, it's just like, I don't want to be doing anything else.
No.
Because everything falls, like for me, everything falls into what we're doing.
Because we have created a business within our life setup. It's how our lives are set up and structured. And the things I believe, and I think that you two are the same, so we've had these conversations offline, but the things that you do not get, you don't get because it saved you from an experience that wasn't meant for you.
Right.
And in the moment, of course, you're like, shit, I really wanted that.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's hard. Like Chelsea and I speak very openly about, we're both kind of like we're always looking for money. We're in this fundraising mode, right?
Sure.
But to get a partner that is aligned is so strategically aligned is so critically important. So the things that didn't pan out,
take money.
You cannot take money. Actually, what did I say to you? I said, I'm looking for money and money plus.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of people with money.
Yeah, of course. We've always been fortunate enough that there was money if we needed it, and we knew not to take it when we did, when we didn't need it. And now it's time for FroPro to truly find strategic partners that are going to help us take us to the next level. And we've learned a lot too. I've learned a lot as a CEO for sure. In the last 2 years, like I've gotten a lot more confident in knowing what the business needs. 2 years ago, if you asked me, I'd be like, nope, we need to hire this, and this so that we can get.
Right.
But now I know we can lead and we can also hire, you know? So
again, and that comes through going through every process and doing every little job.
And it comes from learning through loss.
Right.
Through failing.
Right.
And not winning. I like to say you either win or you learn.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that.
And I think that's true. It's like I can still go to a negative place, you know, like if, you know, I thought we were going to lose something that, again, had nothing to do with us, and it was account, and I got to share about it because I think it's important, where it's just like, they're like, hey, this is being taken over. We don't really know how to transition, and, you know, sorry. And it was like significant to me because I was like, thought it was so cool. And I immediately was like, oh, we're never going to get it. And I just like went down this shithole.
Right.
And then it was
it got acquired by a company that wants to do more with us.
Right. And then that company, that's what I'm saying. That company was like, cool, we want to work with you. And oh, by the way, we have access to boom, 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 boom. And you're like, oh, so positive stuff.
Right.
Not the negative stuff.
Right.
Got it. So it's like, I don't know why I'm conditioned, even with everything that like has been going on the last 12 years. It's fucking awesome.
It is awesome.
It's really great.
I think, and I'm not in your brain.
Bad place to be.
This is also my brain is a scary place to be. So you stay in yours, I'll stay in mine. But
noted.
I didn't mention because I know mine's the scariest.
Yeah.
But I also think that, you know, again, like some of these things don't pan out for that reason.
Right.
And we're just kind of on our paths.
I think the best thing I've learned is that I waste too much time on that kind of what Matt just explained. I've exhausted myself on that. So I've gotten really good at moving to the next thing. We don't have time to the tiny lose it. Like we don't have time. And
well, time is our most precious resource.
And business situations. If I obsess over things that are not good, it's just going to destroy all of us. Like a specifically FroPro, like, you know.
Right.
So,
well, because you are FroPro.
Exactly. So as you know, learning to be a leader, what I personally do is like so important not to deconstruct like that. So
but
you
also
know, Matt comes in and out and then he hears the negative and I understand, you know, like he's busy doing other things. And when he comes in and hears the one negative, it's like, oh my God.
Right.
But then I need to be like, no, listen, we got this, and this is good.
To balance it out.
You know, let's keep, you know, we got to keep it moving.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I don't know about you too, but I learned more in a 24-month period running a small business during COVID, through COVID, than I did in the prior 5 years combined.
Not thinking that way, but yes, like totally.
Because it was a whole new set. It was like, oh, here's everything I know in the cumulative 5 years of being a business owner and being, you know, running, building a business. Here is now a new set of rules because everything you know is different.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that was like a really big kind of awakening for me. And we're still on our end dealing with kind of the aftermath of, you know, running an e-com business versus live. And we both sell in different platforms.
Yeah. I think we're feeling effects more now.
Sure.
Our growth was different than yours as far as timeline. I think you had, I don't want to say like more growth, whatever.
We did have explosive growth in the beginning.
Yes.
Like year over year, it was wild to see the numbers.
Yeah. And for us, COVID spiked us, you know?
Yeah.
So now we're having that aftermath of learning. So I've learned a lot in the last year. Like the year, I call it like after COVID. So what are we finishing 2022? So like the end of 21 into 22, like this has been the biggest learning year because this is where we need to make some major decisions because it's not as easy as it was for that organic explosive growth that we had at the beginning. Right. So this past year has been a learning year
100%.
for sure.
So that's interesting that you brought that up because one of the questions that we always ask on this podcast is actually related to travel, which both of you do very well. What were the things that you loved to do, and it could include travel or not, pre and then post COVID?
I mean, is it? I can't say our life has changed pre and post. I don't know if that's you know, not that we bulldoze through it, but I can't say. I mean, if anything, COVID in the middle of it when it got shut down, that was such a nice time for us. That brought that quietness for Matt and I was a really important time for us. We love to go on walks. That's a huge part of our partnership, for sure, since the beginning. And COVID gave us a lot of walks. I think there was so much personal growth in COVID with that. So
That's
I don't know
so
if
beautiful
I
that
know
you
I'm
have
saying
that
it's
as your
different.
ritual.
I'm not
So
answering
nice.
the question properly because
Yes, you are. I think it's great.
And we just came off of, I think, 6 months of insane travel, and both personal and business.
Yeah. And a little bit of both.
And I can't,
Right.
and I'm happy to say that I'm happiest at home. Like,
Yeah.
we're so lucky we get to do this, but like traveling the world, as great as it is, and I want to do it with Matt. I love being home. I love our routine and coming back to it. I think FroPro's a part of that. We have a
Sure.
business at home to get home to.
Sure.
I know you can relate to that. I know you.
Yes, I can.
You get to do way more cool things on the road for the business. And then at the same time, that's what we're hoping to do. We see ourselves out more sharing FroPro while HQ is running it down here.
Right.
So I know I didn't answer that. I don't know if you have a better answer for pre and post COVID,
I think the appreciation for home and being home, again, it's like, I don't want to take a vacation from my life. And there's a lot of people that feel the opposite. And,
Sure.
And again, I can say that now because, again, even though I love teaching and I love coaching in my former life and how I did certain things, like the life I get to lead today and the life we lead today is something that really makes me happy and something I truly enjoy and find joy in. So it's like, I don't want to go away from it. And I want to take that and go other places where people are doing that and meet the same people that are,
Right.
Like we've met some really cool people that are into some really cool shit and do
the same
really
with you.
epic
Connecting
things.
to new people to you're sharing
Yes.
Chesty, we're sharing FroPro. So
Right.
that's the name of the game. Like what we are trying to get FroPro out there, more people eating it, snacking it, and then becoming a part of our community that we're growing.
Right. I love being part of your community. I love
having
that.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that you are part of ours. I think that we come from a very similar place in the way that we grew. Even our timelines are so aligned and
Definitely.
similar. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Chelsea and I talk about that all the time. And I feel the same way. I also don't want to take a vacation from my life. I feel like it's just starting in a way,
Totally.
and it's funny because you're like, we come home to the business. Well, I do too. And I was actually running the business in
your
my home.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Literally.
Yes, it was wild. I mean, we're actually working on this kind of like then and now video piece. Van's doing it because he has all the original
Oh wow, yeah.
video from back
Just
then.
to tie us together, where you ran it, our first home that we had together was in the same community.
Tuscany.
Yes.
Love that.
So like our first home together, first year of his sobriety, we lived, I think, a floor above you.
That is so crazy.
So just to tie
Actually,
that
I'm on the
together.
top floor. Were you also on the top floor?
No,
Okay.
I wanted to be.
Oh, okay.
We were not.
That would have been wild.
I think we were on the second floor. I don't know, but it was the perfect little starter.
I think that's great.
For us.
Yeah. So, and so Devin, I don't know if you knew this or know this, but I ran Chesty in my 2-bedroom condo where my brother, who also lived in Tuscany, but in building 3, I was in building 4, his 90-second commute door to door. He'd walk over in the morning. Of course, he had a key to the house. And he's an early riser, not as early as me. So 5:30 in the morning, I'd hear him listening to music, probably like Black Keys or something, maybe some NPR. And I would walk out, like in my underwear, like, hello. And my office at one point, my office was this very small footprint in the kitchen because we had shit piled so high, you couldn't even slide a credit card under the door.
Yeah.
It was just wild. That's when we were like, well, something's got to give.
Yeah.
But I put painter's tape, like that blue painter's tape, on the floor.
Space.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I put it on the floor right at the door jamb of my bedroom. And I was like, there will be 0 business things past this line. And that was it.
Yep.
Because my brother, the military guy had like, okay, well, column A is going to be for this. And we're going to go this far into this space. He drew up like blueprints.
Of course.
For my tiny ass condo. I'm like,
To make
just,
it work.
just so
you
you're
built the whole
aware.
business there.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know. I love that. I love feeling that I've watched you specifically go into now 3 different spaces and keep growing and keep growing. And I love that we're growing together in that way.
Yeah.
It's very,
Cool.
very fucking cool. So I'm very happy that you guys are on this on this journey with us.
Absolutely. It's been awesome.
So Chelsea, from your perspective, what for you has been the hardest challenge, and what was the hardest thing you had to do
with FroPro?
Yeah. Or in life. We go beyond business here. You can say life.
Go a little beyond that.
Yeah, go beyond that.
Yeah, because I think business stuff, running things, taking control is really easy for me. You know, that's how FroPro became a business, me taking control of it. It was definitely...
That was a power statement by a power woman. I just want to acknowledge that.
It was definitely
that was awesome.
a hobby. You know, I'm not saying... You know, I say this easily because Matt and I, it's not easy running a business with your husband. So we go through things and we talk it out. And if I take too much control, or if Matt's like this, you know, FroPro wouldn't exist without Matt, and it wouldn't be a business without me. You know, like it would not, we need one with the other. So as much as I'm running this business, I made it what it is. It's making money, because of all these things I can say about myself, I would have nothing if Matt didn't make it, you know? So that's a little bit about Matt being comfortable in the founder position and and owning it forever. You know, no one else can be the founder. Someone else.
Director of fun.
Yeah, which is what he likes to say, but no one else can be the founder. Other people could be the CEO, you know? So I have no problem saying how much I do and why. It's because of me, because he's irreplaceable in that sense. So,
I love that.
So FroPro, running it's not, you know, a walk in the park, but that's easy for me. I've struggled with anxiety and depression my whole life. You know, I've had my own codependency things with Matt and all these personal things and anxiety. As we just got married, and you know, when we got married in 2015, we made a decision together that I wouldn't take anxiety medicine anymore. And
that's huge,
you know, and I think that's when I came onto FroPro. So like coming onto FroPro, like not medicated and really learning a new way to live, yoga and meditation, and honestly being healthy. I wouldn't say I was like disastrous before, but FroPro gave me a healthy lifestyle. Matt inspired me to be healthier and be, you know, I said to Matt at the time, I need to look the part, you know, like this, what, you know, as I'm sitting here today, like fit and healthy and all the things. That wasn't me at the time. I didn't work out or anything like that. So I've become who FroPro, you know, Matt naturally was. He created this bar for his lifestyle, and I changed because of FroPro. So I'm grateful for that. Beautiful. But what's hard, we don't have enough time to talk about all my anxiety and all that stuff, but that's been the hardest part, you know, dealing with that and putting in the work there and making sure that I'm the best wife, partner, daughter, friend, boss, coworker. It's not easy, you know, because personally, as a person with emotions and that, like, I'm a big person, and navigating being liked and not caring if you're liked, and then needing to care if you're liked, you know, like that's been always a thing for me, and something I don't want to say struggle with, but work through. But that's definitely been it. Just like being comfortable in myself and being the best version of me, because, you know, you can put a lot of pressure on yourself. If FroPro, you know, is FroPro succeeding? Whose fault is it? I am. It's my fault, you know, like I got to take blame for what's going on. So that would be the hardest part, the taking responsibility,
the ownership,
and not letting it destroy me. So I've done a lot of personal growth in the last year. So as hard as FroPro was last year and its growth, you know, we're learning and working on it. I've done a lot of things personally that have helped me be a better, all of the things.
It's great. And I love that you said that you're a big person.
Yeah. I know you can relate.
I can. And what I also appreciate about that is you're not saying that you're taking it all. You're saying, I'm a big person. I'm taking up space. I have capacity, but everyone else in my life, there's room here too.
Oh, yeah.
And that's very much what we get.
Yeah. I, you know, that's the biggest thing, how much I need Matt, you know? I want, but
can I just say, you guys are a couple goals, right, Devin?
You'd never know. There's like no like physical touch.
Oh my God,
your space.
That's language of love is physical touch. I've done none of that while we've been recording.
You guys are so sweet. It's just like, it's a beautiful thing to watch you grow.
Thank you. It's what I'm most proud of. I think Matt can agree.
I love that.
The proudest thing in my life is definitely our marriage.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. We have some lighter topics that we can ask you, but we can go back to heavier stuff anytime because this shit's hard.
Yeah.
All right. So a question for both of you. Female revolution, is this a thing or no?
Go ahead, babe.
I mean, I wouldn't say it is. It's so funny. We'll take it, just my experience when we were talking about this becoming a female-owned business, as someone that created, made it, whatever. And like that, I guess there were some nerves around asking me. I'm like,
Yeah, well, so we have a partner.
right. So,
We have a partner, and he said, you need to ask Matt. Like,
Right.
we're about to change this business to, we're about to submit. You're going to own 51%. I did not say this because I'm controlling. I said this because I know my husband, that he did not care. Like that he fully believed in me and women-owned business. And if anyone respects women and believes in them, it's him.
Yes.
So I didn't speak for him then. I just knew. And Matt said, of course. First of all, whatever the company needs to do to be better.
Right.
Well, yeah, and that gives us, it truly is. Like, Chelsea runs the business, runs the day-to-day, and there can only be one chief. And, like, I'm totally okay with that. And, like, I've done enough, like, work on myself where it's, like, it's not an ego thing. It's a team thing. And, like, we have so many awesome people that are part of it and got to where we are because of the community and because of a lot of people that, gave us shit and gave us a chance. So it's just, like, I like, it's cool. And I think, yeah, sure.
You've shared on another podcast that everything in your life was brought to you by women.
Yeah, like our I would say it was our friend Scott Russell, who was like,
yes.
It seems to me that like there was a lot of really great women in your life along the way that told you what to do and you did it. I said, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
I love that.
And
Scott's also great at like coming up with a very quick snapshot from his perspective.
Yeah.
And articulating
I
that very well.
That was specific, like interesting, like that you asked that. I think that was his complete response to your story.
Yeah. And
I love that.
I don't know facts. I don't know statistics. I know like women in the workforce. And like, I believe, I want everybody to be at the party. I want everybody to play and everybody have a seat at the table. I've always been that way.
Yes.
That's why I wasn't allowed to, be a bouncer because like
everyone can come in.
Everybody can come and drink and party. It's cool. But like, yeah, I think again, if you're out there busting your ass and like, I don't think it should matter whether you're a male or female, man or whatever. I think, if you're out there hustling, you're out there working your ass off, you deserve to have a seat at the table as long as you're doing the deal, right?
Right.
Again, that's a great question, but I'm not your stereotypical guy that's just like that's fucking stupid.
Right.
I firmly believe, and I have no shame in my game. My wife, like, I used to write things in a notebook with a pencil. In the age of the internet, just because that's what I was comfortable with, and she was like, no. We're going to do this, this, and this. And again, that's one of the reasons, again, why we work so well together is like, she's really good at things that I'm not, and I'm good at things that she's not. And it's
such a great balance.
Right. And it's a great balance.
Yeah.
And I think, I think,
I love this. You've both met my brother, Scott Michael Biscuiti.
Of course.
And Matt, now that we've gotten a little bit further into who you are inherently, both of you and I are more similar. And Chelsea, you and my brother
I believe
are
that
more
we've
similar.
made the connection before.
Yeah.
Yes. And also founders, but operators, right? Like he really fills that CEO role more.
100%.
And you want to talk about like old school, also writing in a notebook with a pencil.
Yeah.
Devin knows
pen
this.
to paper for sure, but he was like crossing off people who paid. Like that. He was accounting with it, so
I'm a CPA.
Oh, so we're the same with money management as well.
Well, yeah.
Well, no, we don't want to get into who spends the money and who.
Don't open that door.
No.
Okay.
That's a funny conversation.
We'll come back to that never.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless we want to talk about golf, we can talk about my online shopping if you want to talk about golf.
This is so funny.
We can.
What's the correlation?
Well, what do you call that? What would be the word?
What do you mean?
Like, what would be the thing? And not like a pet peeve.
Yeah,
So,
no, I think it's
your Achilles heel.
But I would like to say I've become very accepting of golf.
Okay. Oh, I have seen your
Yeah,
post.
I'm an extremely.
She's out here in golf skirts now. She's got the attire. She's doing
golf
it.
Wife.
Yeah, and again, unless you're in your own way with anxiety over shopping and buying shit that doesn't need to be bought or purchased, we're good. I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like totally
Need,
one of
want.
those things.
There's a gray line.
It's like, hey, having a rough day. Let me order these 10 things. And like they're gonna come, and I'm gonna try them on, and then return them. And I get it.
We're
I understand.
full exposure here on
Yeah,
the podcast.
And that's
Reality.
our thing. And that's the thing.
I mean, we all have our coping mechanisms.
Of
We all have
course.
our things.
Totally.
And the fact that you accept one another for that, I think
Yes.
is great. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There are zero
It's our
people that are
release.
perfect.
It's like the
Yeah.
one thing that we do when the other one's not around.
It's great.
But you did start playing a little golf, and that's been cool too.
Yeah, that's a long.
We're gonna get her into the pickleball world soon.
Ooh, yes. My brother's into pickleball.
Who isn't? I've definitely been.
I need to start learning.
Yeah, we can learn together.
It's crazy. Very insane.
Devin,
As you
do
can
play?
imagine, Matt dived
Okay.
Dove right in.
head first.
Of course you did.
Obviously.
Yeah,
Obviously.
it's competitive,
Had to
it's
see
fun.
Your
do
personality
anything,
has
yeah.
one way to be. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
jumping
have
off.
time to jump on board with him because he was just like in there.
He was
ready
already
to
in
go.
there.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Of course.
there's still
Right.
time.
And now for the hardest hitting question of the day.
Who's going first, her or me?
She's
Back
going
up the
first.
question.
Toilet paper roll,
Oh,
over or under?
I mean, we definitely first.
We're both
We're-
over.
Oh, of course, over.
Yeah.
People say under. You do under?
No.
I'm over. Devin's over.
Under
Rumble
is
bum.
Psychopath.
Rumblebum doesn't care. She doesn't care.
There's an argument there, but the straight under.
I don't think it's an opinion. It's a right or wrong, and I think under's wrong.
Wow.
That's stupid.
But I will say, so one of our chefs, he puts the paper towel under because he says while he's operating and moving around, if he rips it over, it pulls too much. I'm not
Oh.
describing it right, but it made
Okay.
sense with what he said. It does not I cannot bring that to the toilet paper.
Right, fine. Sound explanation.
Like there was a reasoning in a
There's
kitchen
reason
space
behind
for
it.
the paper towel to go under. But I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, I group chatted our entire team. Who put the paper towel the wrong way, like under?
The wrong way, folks.
Yeah,
That's
and then
what
they
she said.
explained, and it was specific. But obviously, you can't bring that back to the toilet paper.
Right.
So we're the same. I mean,
Love that. Okay. We are all aligned here in this room.
on that note,
Great.
On that note, okay. Sparkling water, yay or nay? Yes or gross?
I'm a bubble guy.
Okay.
but you don't drink it anymore.
What do you mean?
Like I feel like you opt for tap now, just because but you love bubbles.
I love bubbles.
Yeah, I buy him
mean,
bubbly.
I'm a Celsius a day guy.
Yeah.
That's bubbles.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Okay.
no bubbles.
Okay.
I don't think it's gross. I just don't. But Matt doesn't drink, so he likes
Right.
bubbles,
I like
little
bubbles.
fun in his drink.
I have to ask this question for Rumblebum specifically. Speaking of bubbles, how do we feel about Ollie Pop?
So
Delicious.
Yes.
he loves it, and that's what I buy for him at home because it's like a little fruity.
Yeah.
Favorite flavor?
The orange.
The orange has probably
Ooh.
been my go-to.
They can bite it back now.
They're
Yeah.
coming back.
And
We're coming back.
I
We're-
hope one day people will be asked what flavor, like FroPro flavor they love on a podcast. I
Oh,
hope
yeah.
it's like that.
we can start asking it for you here.
Tropical dream for me.
It's birthday cake for me.
Vanilla
Okay.
all day. We'll get you.
I've only had chocolate, I think.
The OG.
Yeah.
The OG flavor.
Yeah.
The OG.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Love
there's
that.
some here at the Flamingo House that people can try if they haven't tried it yet.
Yes. Shout out Amber for having all of us
Thank you.
here. Thank you so
For
much.
sure.
And if anyone is listening from Ollie Pop, can we please get my co-host a sponsorship?
She loves
Okay.
it.
She loves it. She will do a review any time
Yeah.
of the day. She just scoured every Whole Foods to find
The apple.
crisp apple,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which she did a 9 out of 10 review on. She leaves 1 point for a margin of error. I mean, we're really leaving a 10 for
Crisp apple
10.
gets a 9 out of 10. I gotta try that.
Yeah. So that's what she gave it. While we're on the topic of ingesting things, coffee.
Black.
Can we be friends? Do we drink coffee here?
Black.
Of course, and we
Straight
both
up.
do it black.
Look at
You-
Devin is giving the this
Well,
motion.
I should say this. I do mix in unflavored
He has two
vital
different.
proteins, which doesn't cause anything to happen.
Same.
And a little cinnamon.
Same.
Sometimes I'll throw a little like coconut.
But then
Oil.
talk about your drink at the seed. So we both do like
Oh, yeah.
black. We're easy black coffee. If someone's getting us coffee, black coffee.
Black coffee.
But he has a really awesome drink. It's called
Yeah.
the Pro at the Seed.
Yeah, it's a quad shot, two brown sugars, and a splash of oat or almond milk.
Ooh.
Shaken. So it's like a shaken.
next time
it's
we'll
like
try
a
that.
shaken espresso.
Okay.
But like that's like one of those like if you need some like go juice.
Go juice.
That's like the addict.
And
in
then if
that
you
for
really
me,
but
know,
if you
like
really
that.
want to get
like,
crazy
that's
though,
crazy.
their cold brew at the seed is incredible. Where you tap a little cold brew into that.
Well, Devin just told me this morning when I offered to get him something from the seed, I said, or you can get one of the cold brews on tap.
It was broken.
It was broken.
Yeah.
And his response to me was, I'm not drinking it if it's not at least 142 degrees.
Yeah, it's gotta be cold. Wait. Oh,
Hot.
Oh,
It needed to be hot for
sorry.
him.
Yeah, you're a hot. Okay.
Yeah, he's a hot guy.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Got
Now,
yeah.
however, at the seed, I do have their cappuccinos also.
Yeah.
Just regular cappuccinos.
They're good.
We go both ways. It really depends.
Yeah, we
Like
love
I'm naturally,
brewed, we
I
love
always
brewed coffee. We went through a cycle, and this will describe Chelsea's shopping to a T. We had a nice coffee pot, wasn't good enough. Then we went to a Keurig, a super Keurig, a super Keurig Express, an espresso, and then one day we were in Denver and we had French press hot coffee in the morning delivered to our room, and she's like, "Man, this is really good. We should do that." And I was like, "We had a fucking coffee pot years ago." And I miss it, and thank God. And she's like, "Well, we're not going to get any coffee pot. We're going to get the X5 Brewerville 5000."
That has a lot of great things.
Ooh, I
because of
love
it,
that.
so.
That is a
It's
sexy machine.
It is a great machine.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. And Devin can appreciate this because he was just telling me this morning that he took the risk when he and Ashley moved in together of telling her that her Keurig needed to go in the trash.
Yeah,
Gotta go.
All right, hold on. Before, it's just good. I mean, obviously,
Like, I know a lot of coffee snobs.
She's obviously
so-
going to be listening.
Right. I have my personal Breville.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
That's-
Breville's great.
She has her own Keurig, and they're side by side. She's got like
Currently.
foam green. Currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sea foam green is
know,
nice.
I'll say it for you. We know that the Keurig is less than.
Yeah, right.
It is.
Exactly. The Breville
I can
is
say
very
that.
coffee.
No one's arguing this point
Yeah.
here.
Right.
Right.
Now, in her defense, she does use the little fillable Keurig cups. So
Okay.
it's like
I've done that.
coffee,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
so-
Yeah, the
All right.
Cafe Bustelo in that one's good too.
Ooh, yes. Shout out to Melissa Anderson on that, Cafe Bustelo. And then she also gets the one from Cafe du Monde.
Ooh.
Mm.
We're
Basically,
we're
it's jet
Death Wish
fuel.
coffee. We're Death Wish coffee.
Yeah.
I have a Black Rifle subscription.
Black Rifle's good too.
All right. I really thoroughly enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah, of course.
Moving on to more brain juice. What is your first reaction when someone asks you if they can pick your brain?
You want to go positive versus negative?
I don't know, because it's interesting you say it, because like I think that too. Like a lot of people ask you for things, and then you're just like, we've talked about this right before the podcast started. We're so busy, you know, but
Right.
priorities.
Right.
For me, I'll answer for
Yeah,
me.
this is more of a Matt question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, I'm honored that they're wanting to know what's going on inside my brain. And I'll give them time. If I've learned now that it's like, it can be a phone call, but some people, hey, I got coffee, this. I'm like, cool. What is this about? Just so I have an idea.
I've had to help
Right.
Matt set boundaries.
And Chelsea's helped me with that. But I think at the same time, it's like, people gave me the time, right?
Right,
People, you know, I've asked for that, and I can't imagine, you know, everyone being like so excited about it, but like giving me the time. So I think it's very important to, as long as it's not an ask hole where they consistently ask you,
Right.
hey, can we get together again this week? Hey, like, just shoot me some ideas. I'll respond, and I'm happy to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always want Matt to be kind and give time, but a lot of people also abuse people's time, you know? So like,
Right.
it's not what you
Been
and I like.
very cautious about that.
Yeah, like
Yeah, sure.
people were abusing Matt's time. No one specific, you know, if anyone's it was just that
Right.
like Matt just can't go out to lunch all the time and then share all of everything he's done. Sometimes you just got to work, not to sound
Well,
like
it's extremely draining. And sometimes, you know, you have to be in a protection kind of mindset, at least for me, I'll speak for myself, that, you know, you have to be very cognizant of the fact that 1 hour away from your baby could actually cost you significantly.
Sure.
So you have to really like weigh where you're at in your life. Are you at in your career? Where are you at in your like healing journey? Because there's never really, you never reach an end point.
Yeah.
And so I also have gone both positive and negative. A positive for me was that I actually formed a consulting company out of that because I was so taxed with that, just being inundated with that specific question, that I'm like, you can pay for that now. If it's something simple and I can help you and you're a good friend, of course, like a quick phone call. Yes. But the last thing I need is to go out for a 90-minute coffee.
Yeah.
I can make it myself. We've already discussed the coffee making instruments that we all have.
And you didn't get to where you were from someone else's 90-minute. Like You didn't go
Right.
out with someone. They explain everything to you, and then you create your business.
Right.
I know
And
a
you're
lot
like,
of-
this, thank you for the blueprint. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there's
Yeah.
a middle ground of being a good,
Yeah.
open, honest person who gives people, what they received. But then
Right.
there's also like, you can't just like go out and tell someone how to run a business.
Can't give them the juice.
Yeah.
No, you can't give them the juice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And our last kind of like softest question before we go to the rapid fire is for you, Matt, linerless or liners? And for you, Chelsea, regular bras or sports bras?
I mean, I know the answer to both. Interesting. I will say, only linerless is only Chesty. He's a liner guy, but he goes.
She's told me that before.
He goes
So-
linerless in Chesty though.
Right. And I go linerless with no underwear. And I'm not trying to be inappropriate.
The information you all needed to know
But-
today.
When I run in chesties, linerless, no underwear.
Specifically, but if I,
Unless I'm at an event, then I wear like my sliders.
and I of course shop for Matt, obviously. So like I bought him only liners in other shorts.
Right.
Life now is sports bra.
Great. We love that. I live in that
Yeah.
space too, as you know.
Right.
Okay, so we have 4 questions. We can go like this. We can alternate. So I'll do one of these gestures, but I am going to say one word or 2 words. You need to tell me what your gut initial reaction is using only one word back. Ready? Chelsea first.
No, Matt's better, but go.
All right, we'll do Matt first. Matt first. Festivals.
Love it.
Wow. Okay. Chelsea. Situationships.
Oh God, I mean, I hate it.
That
Just hearing that.
was it. She said hate. There we go. Matt. Sunglasses at night.
Always.
That is not true. He just is good at answering that. That is not true.
Honestly, I wish that I had 25 more questions because I'm digging
did
your
I-
one-word
what
answers.
did I say about Matt being good at this
This
game?
is so good. And then Chelsea, to close us out, international travel.
Oh, I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
Needed.
Yeah, but
Needed.
see, he's really good at this.
Oh, I love
I have one
that.
question before we sign up too.
Sure.
What do you say? And again, we've had this conversation. We've had this conversation with several of our friends. When people look at what you're doing and being an entrepreneur, they say, "Wow, must be nice."
It's like, it is so hard for me not to pop off. I get the same reaction, and I just physically
Visceral.
changed.
Yeah.
It is visceral, and it is the same reaction that I have when people say they allude to an overnight success.
Right.
The fuck it was.
Mm,
Must be nice. Let me tell you about what's happening with my central nervous system. And Devin has heard this plenty of times.
yeah,
I have to dye my hair this color because of the grays.
right.
The wrinkles, I probably put on 5 different types of eye cream.
Mm,
I can't eat at certain times of the day because of the stress that's just in my body churning, that if I were to put food onto my gut, I feel like I'm going to have an explosion. Those are just 3 examples.
Yeah, it's like that was
I
extreme.
love that.
Those are
Matt
3
loves it,
examples
yeah.
of how not nice it is, which is why, to come full circle, I say that the title of our podcast is This Shit's Hard. So what is your reaction when people say must be nice?
He's come to a place where
I've
it
come-
is nice.
I come to a
He
place
says,
where I
yes, it
said,
is nice.
Yeah, it is fucking
Good.
nice because I worked my ass off.
That's beautiful. That's a nicer response than mine.
Yours is where he always stemmed from, and I think he did
Right.
a lot of work to get to. Yes, it's nice, and like we're not where we're still going.
Right. And I love that too. And same here. And the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So with that, how do people connect with you two and with FroPro online? How do they follow you and
Easiest
watch
is
your
on
story?
Instagram is FroPro Snacks. Matt personally is very active on social media at MWar Williams.
MWAR Williams.
And easy, Matt FroPro, Chelsea at FroPro.com. You know, we're
Email
very
Chelsea. Email Chelsea because like
We're- we're very
I just like
accessible.
email so much.
Another thing that Matt and
Yes,
I
I
have in
can.
common, I think I have
honestly would
89,000
Right. I would
emails.
rather people call or text me because
Perfect.
emails I just can't do it.
Matt's not a desk guy.
I can't sit
But
at a
if you're listening to this podcast, you've never ate FroPro before, and you reach out, we will send you some FroPro.
Ooh.
So if you made it to the end of this, and you
Wow.
want to try FroPro, you reach out. We'll give you some free FroPro.
Oh,
That's a good
fam
deal.
bam, please
Boss lady,
do.
they're not the deal.
Look
right
at
there.
that deal. You guys, please do reach out because they're being serious. They are so generous. Their product's amazing.
Thank you so
And
much.
you're welcome. I don't really eat peanut a lot, but I will break
For
my
FroPro.
diet. I will do it for FroPro.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And with that, can I please have an air high five? I love you guys so much. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
Thank you.